Let's talk about Alabama's schedule, and let's talk about what Kalen DeBoer cannot afford and why I think they're being unfairly maligned in this very important way. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If that is something you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. How do you feel about Alabama's schedule in 2025? Do you think it's tough? Do you think it's not as tough? Do you think Kalen DeBoer should have cited the non-conference schedule as being difficult? Well, I got a take on that. I also want to remind you, we've got an audio podcast on Apple and Spotify, and if you are kind enough to go there and leave us a 5-star review, I am going to send you one of these stickers in the mail. All you got to do is hit the form in the description on any of the YouTube segments that we got here. Fill out that form, tell me where to send the sticker, tell me where to send the thank you note, and probably going to do a live stream here not too long from now where I just sit down, do mostly a college football AMA, and chat with you all for a little while. I think as Kalen DeBoer got to the days today, one of the things I found interesting is just how the reception this year was not the reception last year. Last year, it was a dude that was coming off a plane in the national championship game, flipping Washington into a national title contender seemingly overnight with a great quarterback in Michael Penix Jr. that he had rehabilitated into the kind of guy that you thought could win the Heisman Trophy. Rome Odunze was also outstanding wide receiver. Jalen Polk down the line gets to Bama, handpicked by Nick Saban to lead this program after he retired. And we had all these nice things to say. We knew he had Jalen Milroe. We knew he had Justice Haynes. We knew that Ryan Williams was going to be that guy. And most of that turned out to be true. People forget Alabama got off to a 4-0 start last year with wins that include Wisconsin and, at the time, a top-ranked Georgia. And then they drop a game to Vanderbilt. And then they drop a game to Tennessee. And then they drop a game to Oklahoma. And then they drop a game to Michigan. One of the things that I took away from this is, A, you didn't make a college football playoff. And that can't happen. The reason that is a big deal is no program has made more appearances in the college football playoff since its inception in 2014 than Alabama. Okay? Nobody has won more games in the college football playoff since its inception than Alabama. No one has won more national championships in the college football playoff era than Alabama. And my favorite part of this, Alabama has played in the college football playoff every other year at a minimum for a decade. They have never gone 2 years without playing in that thing. My favorite example of the difference that the head coach makes is actually 2023. So Florida State is undefeated. And yeah, they don't have a Jordan Travis, but they are undefeated with an ACC championship. And we mostly made a system where if you won a Power 4, Power 5 conference championship and you're undefeated, you're going to be one of the 4 best teams in the sport, so we think. That turned out not to be true, as Nick Saban's Alabama beat Georgia and was selected in the playoff. Had Nick Saban been Kalen DeBoer then, I don't think Florida State would have been upset. I think Florida State would have been selected over Alabama. The head coach matters for the selection committee. We know this again because when it came down to picking SMU or Alabama, they went with basically the team that's got the Florida State resume. They run through the ACC. They had made the ACC championship game, and they got beat by Clemson. So they didn't even win the championship game, and yet and still they got in over a 9-3 Alabama. Greg Sankey's standing on the table. He's mad, and I'm going, hey, if Kalen DeBoer is Nick Saban, you get in the playoff. Nobody's arguing about that. This is where we are. So heading into this year, one of the more fascinating statistics that I come across is what Alabama's record had been when they are favored by 14 points or more in the Nick Saban era and in the only season that Kalen DeBoer has coached. In the Nick Saban era, they are a ridiculous 135-3 when they are favored to win by 14 points or more. Last year, Kalen DeBoer was 6-3 in games where Alabama was favored to win by 14 points or more. That's the difference. Winning the games you're supposed to win and winning them comfortably. The only programs that tend to push Alabama during the Nick Saban era are the teams that play for national championships, not conference championships, not we had a good year, Vanderbilt. National championships. You don't see anybody jumping up and bite them. That's why when A&M as an unranked opponent beat Bama, that was news because it doesn't happen, right? Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, come on now. Not supposed to be how that goes. So Kalen DeBoer also makes reference to they play Wisconsin and Florida State this year. And the quote is, we're into playing as many high-end games as possible. And they're getting cooked on IG. They're getting cooked on X. They're getting cooked on Blue Sky. They're getting cooked on Facebook because Kalen DeBoer is referencing programs that went 7-17 last season combined. Never mind that they made these games when Wisconsin was Wisconsin, when it had finished, first or second in the Big Ten West for like 7 straight years, and Florida State had been like a BCS or national championship contender for like 5 straight years. The schedule's a schedule, and Wisconsin is a name brand. Florida State is a name brand. That they sucked last year, you can't do anything about that. Scheduling madness. If you're mad about the schedule can be crazy. You're not going to drop Wisconsin and Florida State from your schedule because they suck. You're not going to be Indiana about this and go, well, Virginia's sorry. And you know what? We would rather play Kennesaw State. A thing they're actually doing, Indiana's paying $500,000 to Virginia to go away because Indiana knows what you know. Big Ten stuff. Why would we schedule perhaps Virginia that could be surging? Because, again, Virginia's sorry right now. Will they be sorry in 2027, 2028 when that game is supposed to be played? Who could know? But Kurt Signetti and the Brass would rather get that game off the schedule now and add some truly god-awful FCS and FBS opponents. Like Illinois State, East Illinois is on the schedule in 2027, 2028. Get out of here, man. Redirect your furies. Redirect your furies. The schedule's the schedule. I can't get upset about that. Not only can I not get upset about that, I refuse to get upset about that. I think we're going to play 12 games. They're going to play 8 in the SEC. Alabama's going to probably drop one of those, if not 2 of those. It's who they drop them to. Because their schedule, while not the most difficult in the world, like Mississippi State's got a monster schedule. Wisconsin's got a monster schedule. It's a top 25 schedule, right, in toughness. It ought to be one for which they can run through with 10 wins, even with Ty Simpson at quarterback. And I don't mean Ty Simpson's not talented. I mean Ty Simpson's inexperienced because they got Ryan Williams out there. They got Jeremy Bernard out there. Cole Adams catches the ball. They got him out there. Defense will be better. Deontay Lawson will be good. Damani Jackson will be good. They got guys. They'll be okay. The staff is mostly intact, right? One change on defense. You added Ryan Grubb on offense. You're hoping to do that thing that you did at Washington. I think they're capable of doing that. Now, go play ball. See what it looks like in Kalen DeBoer's year 2. But if you miss the playoff, different conversation altogether.